Hi, I'm Christina Pescator. I'm a substitute teacher for the Lawrence Township Public Schools and Slackwood School, and I've been working with Mr. Rizzo on a professional development project on strategies for English language learners. And I know that the number of ELL students has been growing in our classroom. As teachers, we need effective strategies to help these students communicate and succeed in the classroom. ELL students need additional support so they can excel in the PARCC testing. Students need to be exposed to cross-curricular, nonfiction, and fiction text. Staff development is a key component to meet the academic and social needs of ELL students. Teachers can help students feel more comfortable and take a more active role in the classroom. Teachers should differentiate the instruction for ELL students so that their individual needs are met. Teachers should also provide students with anchor charts as well as models of reading and writing strategies. Teachers can help develop a love of literacy and meet the individual needs of students learning English. Okay, so now if you could turn and talk to your neighbor. So how can teachers provide excellent beginning literacy instruction to ELLs while continuing to appreciate their culture and language? Which strategies have you used with your ELLs in the classroom? Okay, so you could take a couple minutes to discuss that. Okay, so I'm going to go over some reading strategies from the research that I did. As teachers, we should help students build on their current cultural and language knowledge. We can think about the students' background knowledge and add on to their current literacy practices. According to Nicole Taylor's article, Promoting Family Literacy Through Connections, Context, and Curriculum, teachers should focus on the 3 C's: connect, context, and curriculum when working with ELLs. Teachers should focus on students identifying literacy practices in the home and community, real literacy concerns in everyday life, especially those representing cultural and linguistic diversity. Literacy learning consists of concepts of print, phonemic awareness, and oral vocabulary. And I would suggest that the teachers at the school start a professional learning community reading this book, Getting Started with English Language Learners, How Educators Can Meet the Challenge by Judy Hayes. And this book has many valuable strategies for teaching English language learners. To improve the homeschool connection and context, parents can come in for an international dinner and literacy night. I know that at Slackwood you currently have family literacy nights, and that's a great way to get students and families interested in reading. And we can continue to invite our parents to come in to read to students. This would help the families to share about their cultures. According to Nicole Taylor's Promoting Family Literacy Through Connections, Context, and Curriculum, despite parents' abilities, they may have goals for their children's literacy beyond what they are able to do or beyond what they were able to experience is important. Teachers can help students retain their original culture and language in addition to learning English. According to Mariana Soto Manning, in honoring and building on the rich literacy practices of young bilingual and multilingual learners, teachers can honor and build on the language and literacy practices of bilingual and multilingual learners. This will improve the inclusion of English language learners in the classroom. According to Mole and Gonzalez, 1994, Research has revealed that students from culturally and linguistically diverse families possess a wealth of cultural knowledge and experience that can be used to enhance their literacy development. Students can continue to share their love of literacy with their children by reading books to students in their home language. And it's important for students to benefit from reading in English as well as their first language. We can help them build on what they do know and help them find meaningful books. ELL students need access to rich literature in the classroom, so that's why it's important to have a nice classroom library. Students may have already developed literacy skills in their first language. Making a connection between the student's existing literacy knowledge and new knowledge will help students learn. ELL students can help determine the similarities to their own language. As teachers, we can help set up literacy goals and build the reading stamina of ELLs. Students can read books in English as well as in their first language. Bates, Klein, Schubert, McGee, Anderson, Dorn, McClure, Huber Ross's article, E-books and e-book apps, Considerations for Beginning Readers, in the Reading Teacher magazine, suggests that teachers use e-books to enhance both guided and independent reading in ELL students. The authors state that some of the scaffolds that e-books provide include the modeling of oral language in the second language and pronunciation guides and definitions. An additional feature is the availability of many e-books in both the primary language of the student and the language of instruction. This provides family support in addition to student access and provides an opportunity to outreach for families. Teachers should also give students a reading interest survey. You could do this at the beginning of the year or the middle of the year or end to see what their interests and attitudes are and if they're changing. And this will help with the student's motivation and desire to read in a new language. And I would suggest incorporating these books into the classroom that are based on the student's interest. To build students' phonological awareness skills, teachers can create sound boxes for segmenting phonemes. The sound boxes can be supported with images so that students can become familiar with the meanings of the new words. Students could listen to a spoken word and then move tokens in a box for each individual sound they hear. This will help students identify how many phonemes are in a word. The sound boxes help students stretch out the spoken sounds in words. ELL students need to hear teacher models of pronunciations. The student can then practice saying the new word as the teacher demonstrates moving a token into each sound box. Teachers can model how to place letters into boxes and demonstrate the sound letter correspondence. The teacher can set up a gradual release lesson plan so that students learn to sound out new words independently. This helps students with phoneme identification and classification. ELL students need repeated phonemic practice. And teachers should scaffold explicit instruction in phonemic awareness, and this will help students with their oral comprehension skills. Teachers can have students perform word sorts by matching up rhyming words. The rhyming words can contain pictures to help students make meaning of the text. Students can also make flip books with matching words and pictures. English language learners can engage in sound sorting activities to improve their phonological awareness. And teachers can engage ELL students in various games to learn sight words, including sight word bingo and Old Maid. Teachers can also ask students to complete a rhyming words file folder game, and students can practice reading sight words from poems or books or going on a word treasure hunt This strategy is suggested in Jennifer Zaravel's The Reading Strategies book. And I'm going to go over the reading games now. Okay, the reading games engage students and help build reading comprehension skills. Reading games can be effective for emergent readers. Word work is interactive and teachers can scaffold the instruction. Teaching children to manipulate the sounds in language helps them learn how to read. A deep understanding of the English language sets the foundation for reading comprehension. The National Reading Panel report shows that instruction in phonics produce positive effects in both word reading and boosting reading comprehension skills. Wordplay through word manipulation games and vocab instruction is effective for students. And here was the word treasure hunt. It's in Jennifer Zaravel's Reading Strategies book. And the teacher could help students identify sight words in the classroom and then put it on a treasure chest anchor chart or on a paper copy to hang in the classroom. And the sight words would be written on the index cards. The steps for implementation. As students are reading, they can use pictures to make meaning of the story. After this, they can identify words they recognize. The teacher can say, "Shall we hunt for some treasures?" Maybe there are some words you already know on the page. Using index cards, the teachers can help students add these words to the treasure chest chart or inside the treasure chest. The teacher can help students recognize that the text carries the story. This helps them make meaning of the text. And the Old Maid game. Okay, this game was from the Reading Rockets website and helps the students to learn sight words. Students can play this game with a partner or small group, and I've included a sample of this in your handout. The steps for implementation. The teacher can create index cards with sight words. The teacher can shuffle and deal 3 to 6 cards to each player, and then players take turns drawing a card from player to their left. The players try to read 2 matching word cards after they draw a card that matches one in their hand. The player keeps the pair of words that they can match. The game is over when all the cards are matched except for the odd card. The player with the odd card wins the game. And other sight word reading games that you could try with your ELL students are the sight word lotto and bingo game. I have an example of that in your handout. And also in Reading Rockets, 6 games for reading for sight word and rhyming games include concentration, Monopoly, fishing for sounds, Go Fish, and rhyming games. And you could also try a rhyming words file folder game with your students to have them practice matching up rhyming words or pictures. And the steps for implementation are the teacher gathers the supplies needed for the game, include file folders, yarn, scissors, glue, and picture of the rhyming word cards. The teacher can create an answer key to put on the back of the file folder. Teachers cut out the rhyming word or picture cards and paste the cards on 2 columns of the file folder. Teachers can state, "This is a rhyme game. For each word, find the word that rhymes with it." To check your answers, look at the answer key on the back of the folder. See how many rhymes you could find. Students can take pieces of yarn and match up the rhyming words or pictures. Students glue the pieces of yarn down and check their answers on the answer key in the back of the folder. As students are learning early reading skills, reading games provide students with additional practice. The teacher can select sight words from the books that students are already reading. The reading sight word games help promote students' success and confidence. Students learn about patterns in words as a result of playing rhyming games. Students look at words with similar spelling patterns. After the students learn about the word family, they can read a poem or book containing the rhyming words. This is an excellent way to engage emergent readers. According to the Reading Rockets website, Paulson 2004 confirmed the hierarchy of phonological skill acquisition in 5-year-olds entering kindergarten. The production of rhyme was more difficult for 5-year-olds than commonly assumed, as only 61% could give a rhyming word for a stimulus. Although some young students will pick up these skills with relative ease during the kindergarten year, especially if the curriculum includes explicit activities, other students must be taught these meta-linguistic skills directly and systematically. And ELL students would benefit from these different reading games in the classroom, and it would help to make the learning interactive. And teachers can place the students into small groups and give the ELLs feedback and input. Natural communication and conversation with their classmates can help students learn English. According to Rachel Howard and ELL's perception of reading, ELL's vocabulary knowledge contributed to their struggle. One vocabulary strategy is to show videos with captions to students. Students can associate the pictures video with the words and meaning. This would help to provide differentiated instruction to students. This would lead to improvements in word recognition, vocabulary knowledge, decoding, and reading comprehension. Teachers can also provide follow-up activities so that students can practice using the new vocabulary words. I know that I use picture flashcards when I'm tutoring my English language learners. This helps students make meaning of the vocab words they are learning. They can associate the picture with the word. They can also practice reviewing the flashcards to help them with their memory. And I also use audio CDs with my ELL students when I'm tutoring, so they could first hear the sound letter correspondence. Students can say the alphabet sounds aloud as they hear them on the recording. Teacher read-alouds are important because many ELLs need teacher models to learn appropriate voice tones, volumes, and language in different school settings. Students need to be exposed to both academic and social language. Teachers can help to activate the background knowledge of ELL students. This will help them to make sense of the information they're reading. The meaning ELLs construct is personal because each student brings a unique background knowledge to their reading or schema. Students also need to provide real-world examples and experiences to their reading. It is helpful for teachers to think aloud to model comprehension and understanding of the text. During partner reading, ELL students can be paired up with a peer who is proficient in English. This will provide an excellent model of reading to ELL students. Students pick up new language skills from their peers, and some ELL students feel more comfortable speaking in a small group rather than in front of a whole class of students. Students can trace their finger over the words as they're reading, and this will help them to make meaning of the text. They can also realize that pictures and as well as words have meaning and use language to read books. We should focus on what ELL students can do rather than what they can't do. According to the Reading Rockets website, to increase ELL's comprehension of nonfiction expository text, teachers need to provide explicit instruction on how the text is structured. models of what good readers do to get information from the text, and opportunities for practice so that ELLs can identify and interact with the text. We also need to give ELL students opportunities for peer interaction with the content of the text in order to increase comprehension. Other strategies include making predictions. It could be a directed reading thinking activity, which encourages students to be active readers, and they listen to a brief summary of the text, review a few key words or pictures, and then make a prediction about the content of the text. As they begin to read the text, the teacher asks more questions about if the predictions match what they're reading. Students could also complete a word splash activity. They would receive handouts with keywords and phrases from the text splashed randomly across the page. The students spend some time making clusters of information that goes together. They can do this by circling groups of words, highlighting them in different colors, or drawing lines. And they could use the clusters to predict what happens next in the text. Once again, they begin to read the text and they are able to find evidence or text evidence in the text. ELL students should also practice highlighting the text on worksheets, or they could use a clear plastic overhead sheet and a write-on wipe-off marker. They could circle new vocab words if they paperclip this onto something they're reading, and underline key points. The plastic sheets can be reused again. And ELL teachers can also help students with margin bookmarks. They could practice making notes on them that fit in the crease of the textbook and attached to the margin using a paperclip. Students would get specific tasks, such as write the definition of one of the bold words in your own words, or write one fact, one question, and one thing that's important for you to remember, and then provide examples for students to see how they could use this while they're reading. And also, teachers want to help the ELL students to find the important information. As evidenced by those textbooks full of highlighting, they could do a pack the suitcase activity where they identify the most important information in the text. In order to do this activity, give the students a short text, no more than 2 paragraphs, and a small envelope with a picture of a suitcase drawn or glued onto it. Pass out pieces of scrap paper and tell students that they need to review the text, write an important point on each piece of paper, and pack them into their suitcase. To model what good readers do to get information from expository text, here are some strategies to try. Think aloud. Read an introductory portion of the text to the class. Pause to model that you are thinking out loud, such as describing what you know about the text. For example, a teacher can look at a chapter and say, I picture this volcano and I noticed some bold vocabulary words. The words look very scientific and technical. I bet this will be a reading about science. I will learn facts about volcanoes and how they work. And the teacher can also demonstrate how to figure out vocabulary. As you come to new vocabulary words, pause and think about how you can figure out what the word means. Show how you look for clues, such as commas, after a word that contain a definition, or how the word is related to something else that ELL students may know, a cognate or a root word in their language. The teacher can also demonstrate how to ask someone next to them for help with the word, or using a personal dictionary for new words. Graphic organizers are also helpful for ELL students. They could help determine what students know in the text and It helps them to organize the information that they're reading. I know I've used graphic organizers with my ELL tutoring students, and it really helped them to comprehend the text better. The teachers should also model fix-up strategies. This would help the students to fix something that they missed or when reading doesn't make sense. Developing readers tend to just keep going, hoping it will all make sense. But teachers need to show students how to double check information when you don't understand it or it doesn't make sense. Read a section of the text aloud, especially a complicated portion, and stop and reflect it. And then say out loud, what did I just read? That didn't make sense. Let me go back and read it again. If it still seems confusing, you can ask the teacher or other students for help. You could also determine if it's in the book or in my head by using a QAR, question-answer relationship strategy. Teachers can demonstrate this by using questions to model how they figure things out. Examples of an inferential question is, are volcanoes dangerous? This is an important skill to develop because many developing readers spend a lot of time looking at for the answers in the text. Teachers should also encourage student engagement. One strategy is the Say Something activity. Students take turns reading aloud, and following the reading, each student says something, such as asking a question, making a comment, making a connection to something they already read, or responding personally to the text. The exercise also engages students as readers and gets them to thinking about the text. For ELLs, teachers may also want to have a phrase wall displayed so they have a sentence structure to begin making their comments. Examples are, that reminds me of, or do you know? That's interesting because. Have students retell what they learned. I know that I've done this with my ELL tutoring students. They retold the story orally after reading it. And they could also do this with a partner. And students could also be engaged in a repeated reading activity on their iPads or podcast. This will help them to build fluency skills and confidence. Students can use VoiceThread software to record themselves reading and then practice short readings of high-interest text. Readers Theater is also an excellent way to get ELL students reading. I know I've seen ELL students participate in Readers Theater at Lawrence Intermediate School. Students performed in a play based on historical fiction. This helped them to collaborate and practice their fluency skills. Students are engaged in repeated readings, which helps them to build confidence, expression, and prosody. They are able to perform the skills in a safe, authentic setting. Students can invite other classes to come in to view the play as an audience. The use of props and costumes can help to motivate the struggling readers. According to Beers and Probst's Reading Nonfiction, Notice and Note Stances, Signposts, and Strategies, students can also be engaged in a sketch-to-sketch activity for a text that they might have difficulty understanding. Students can visualize the text and draw what they think is happening next in the text. And also the teacher can help students think about 3 big questions. What surprised me? What did the author think that I already knew? And what challenge, changed, or confirmed what I knew? And what does this make me wonder about? Okay, so that would also be a good resource for students as they're reading nonfiction, to use the Notice and Note strategy book. And text should be accessible for ELL students. Text should be leveled to meet the readability needs of learners. Teachers can also provide scaffolded outlines to students as they are reading a text. The students can fill out some of the information on the outline. Study guides should use simple language so that students are able to understand the material. For writing strategies, teachers should provide students with models of writing assignments and clearly review their directions with students. Teachers can provide students with a word bank and ask students to construct sentences from the words provided. Teachers can also help build the growing competence of students' writers. Students can keep journals of their language experience at home. They can write about a song they sang or books they read at home with their parents. ELL students will be more motivated to write if they are engaged in authentic, real, and purposeful writing tasks. Students can complete writing activities on Google Docs and share their work with their peers. Peer feedback can be encouraging to students. The students will write for an audience and can leave encouraging peer comments. I know I've seen students use Google Docs on their Chromebooks before, and they found it very engaging. Teachers can provide ELL students with sentence frames so that it is easier for them to write. This will give students a prompt to start their writing. Teachers can also modify writing assignments for ELLs so they have opportunity to show what they learned. ELLs need opportunities to practice language at their level. According to Patrick Maniok's article, What's Your News? Portraits of a Rich Language and Literacy Activity for English Language Learners, the author states that daily news is an exemplary literacy activity that demonstrates how skillful teachers can simultaneously create the kind of interaction patterns important for second language acquisition, acknowledge and use students' diverse linguistic and cultural resources, and provide meaningful, engaging, and instructive experiences with print. The Daily News provides ELLs with an opportunity for a shared writing experience. Teachers can explain grammar usage to students and set up a gradual release lesson plan. Writing about their daily lives is motivating to ELL students. The teacher can set up the writing as a closed writing activity and students can fill in the blanks. Students can correct punctuation and spelling mistakes in the daily news. Fixing errors in the morning message makes writing more interactive for students. Choral reading the daily news provides a low-risk participation opportunity for students. Peer collaboration contributes to literacy and language development. Students can elaborate on their self-selected topics. Technology provides differentiation for ELL students. Students can log on to readwritethink.org to complete interactive activities such as construct a word. Students can match rhyming words and listen to stories or songs that match the text. Students could also work on an ELL classroom blog or Twitter. This helps to broaden the ELL students' writing audience and share what they have been learning about. In Deanne M. Morales' article, Writing for Real, in The Reading Teacher, she states how challenging the act of writing can be. Typically, listening and speaking skills develop before reading and writing skills, especially in terms of correct grammar and vocabulary use. It is double the challenge when the learner has specific learning disability in written expression. The author states that social media and current technology allow students to connect, receive gratification, and increase their motivation to create and share. Students can also Skype with an author to discuss a mentor text or recommendations for a narrative draft. They could go on a virtual tour of a museum or national park, which will give students inspiration for their writing. Authentic writing activities motivate students and provide them with ownership. There are also different writing apps the students could use, such as Story Buddy 2 and the website storybird.com, which helps students to create and share their writing. Picture prompts can help ELL students brainstorm, visualize, and gain ideas for their writing. Creative, interactive, and engaging writing prompts integrating technology will inspire ELLs to keep writing. I know I've used the picture prompts with my ELL students to help gain ideas for their writing. And I would also recommend Jennifer Saravel's The Writing Strategies book, which contains many valuable writing strategies that teachers can use with their students. Mentor Text can provide students with excellent examples of writing. During a mini lesson, teachers can provide books for each genre of writing, including realistic fiction, nonfiction, historical fiction, narrative, and small moment stories. Students can consult a basket of mentor text books independently when they are struggling to write. Mentor Text provides students with a positive example of writing and will inspire them to write on their own. Teachers should have high expectations for ELL students as well as active teaching methods. We should demonstrate characteristics of culturally responsive teaching. Teachers should have open communication with both students and parents. Diversity should be valued and seen as a positive influence in our classrooms. Teachers can prepare all students to thrive in a global society and appreciate diverse cultures. We need to provide positive feedback to ELLs so that they can reach their full potential as readers and writers. I would appreciate it if you complete the professional development evaluation form. And you could also discuss a time that you were teaching and you didn't realize that most of the class was English language learners, and what did you do? What were some strategies that you think you'll try after this presentation? Okay, thank you.